What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Weapon Collective. My name's Jeff, and we're out on the range today, and we're going to be playing with some subguns. So we have two. We're going to be looking mainly at this one. This is the new Daniel Defense PCC, and it basically 8.3 inch barrel, and then it runs Scorpion magazines, and everything else is set up exactly with AR controls, which I really like that. I'm so used to AR controls. If you saw my show low blackjack video, you saw that that thing runs AK controls, which I am definitely not used to, so I've struggled a bit with those. So running at AR controls is always nice, but I am going to be comparing that gun to the B&T APC9K. And why did I choose this gun? Well, so I would say the one thing about this Daniel Defense, this is their first venture into the subgun world, and it's a fairly expensive gun. They're charging about $2,000 for this gun, and it, like I said, it's their first venture into the subgun realm. So you could get something like a B&T, this APC9K, for maybe $600 more. And this has been around. B&T, basically king of the subguns. They have all sorts of different models of subgun and proven track records with those. So I'm really trying to find out, are you better off saving the $600 and buying a Daniel Defense PCC, or spending that extra couple $100 getting a proven gun? Well, that depends on a lot of things, but I'm trying to find out how this thing runs. I haven't shot it all that much. I've had it out one day, and I'm gonna shoot it some more today, do some drills, and compare it with this gun and kind of see if it's where that value stacks up. But as far as subguns go, where do these things kind of fit in the gun totem pole? And why would you choose a subgun over a rifle today or a pistol? Well, they're nice, they're compact, some more so than others. This APC9 has a 5.4 inch barrel, so you can really get into tight spaces moving in and out of vehicles, doorways. Originally, you know, the MP5 was designed for moving around tight quarters in ships. And then I think the thought process has shifted a little, moving away from that pistol caliber and getting into compact rifles, SBRs, that are shooting 300 blackout, and you can move almost as tight as spaces with a little, you know, you have like a SIG Rattler or something with the 5-inch barrel shooting 300 blackout, much heavier, much more lethal round than 9mm. So that's my opinion, and I would love to hear your opinion. Why would you choose a subgun? What are your thoughts on subguns versus SBRs in rifle calibers, or versus a pistol? Drop that down in the comments, and I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts. Subguns are a lot of fun, and comparing them to a pistol, you're shooting the same round, but you're getting a lot more velocity off that round with a pistol caliber carbine barrel, and you have a lot more stability with those 3 points of contact, and you're just a lot more accurate with the subgun. So we're gonna kind of test that, and maybe we'll throw a pistol in here today to kind of compare some accuracy issues with those. But let's get to it and run some drills with these guns and see which one is, in my opinion, is a better use of your hard-earned money. So let's get to it. Okay, so I figured a good way to test these is kind of test them against the pistol drills that I typically do. So I'm going to start with this dueling tree, and I have a roundabout time reference that I would do this with the pistol. And so let's see if having 3 points of contact, longer barrel, optic, see if I can run this any faster. So let's do this Texas Star. So 389, that's similar to like a good pistol one, maybe a little bit longer, but I had a miss too. So it's definitely a little foreign to me. I've never shot a Texas Star with a subgun. Oh, spun fast there for a second. 331. So I would say a good pistol is probably usually like high threes is a little faster for me. I don't have a huge library of catalog of pistol times that I recall, but 4 seconds is kind of right on average probably. It's interesting because the Texas Star spins differently getting hit with this. So I'm chasing that around. Let's go over here. And I also don't have a huge catalog of times on this 3 and 2 drill. I just started doing this after that Modern Samurai course. But let's see, it should be 3 to the body, 2 to the head in under like 2.5 seconds or something like that. Or even, maybe it's 2, I can't remember. It's like 5 yards with a pistol, so. Oh, I sprayed one. That's 147, so definitely faster, but I'm gonna run that again. Definitely easier to get the hits, of course. That's no surprise. Oh, I can't get them all in there. So that's 142. Are those low? A little low. Okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm not taking the offset in. So that's clean at 9.6. So that's way faster. But that's not a big surprise. Took a few reps, but I wasn't taking the offset into account, so I was dropping those headshots low. But that's obviously way faster after a couple practice reps. But I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. Get all this points of contact, it's much easier. Let's try this. Well, 179 with a miss, and that's, I mean, this is no surprise to anybody that this is gonna be faster than a handgun for me, but it's, I think the fastest time I've ever run a plate rack with a pistol is like 243 or 249, something like that. So it's significantly faster. But the question will be running this with the AR controls and all that familiarity that I have up against the B&T. I think I'll probably not be as quick with that, but I'll just lose time in that safety, I imagine. So let's try some reloads. That's a more fair comparison, I think. Reloading this, I'm gonna probably not be as fast as I am with the pistol. Some 1R1s with the Daniel Defense DD PCC. Oh my gosh, I am. So 389. I've never done 1R1s with the subgun. So figuring out these little things is interesting. Oh my God. Didn't drop, dude. So 336. I mean, it's slower. I just gotta get reps. Doesn't want to slide it, doesn't want to drop every time. God, that does not want to come out. Three, 3, 4. So I'm just slow with this, man. I'm 285. So that's like getting right in that same window. But it just takes a lot of really bad reps to get, because I want to grab it here too, which I don't want to do, but it's faster. .278. It is getting faster, but I don't like grabbing the magwell for that follow-up shot. But it's definitely the fastest I can get this back on target. I don't think it's a good habit to get into, but if you had to make a follow-up shot, I would say the AR controls on this reload don't exactly translate, you know? 271. That's the motion. I'm moving the gun too damn much, dude. 263, getting down there. That's what it is. All right, just took 20 really bad reps to figure out what I need to do. 256. Now we're getting into lower than the pistols. So it's interesting, having never done reloads like this with this gun in particular, but sub guns in general, on a timer, 1R1s with the sub guns particularly. It took me a while of really fumbling around to figure out the best procedure to do that. And it was making sure the gun just stayed downrange. I think I was trying to come up and do all this stupid stuff that was just slowing me down or making the mag not fall out straight. But once I got it there, and it's still though coming up to this position, being the fastest to get back on target, which will work, but I'd rather be up here if you have to make multiple shots, but it's the fastest. So we'll see. But this is just one of those things that, okay, a new area I need a lot of work in. Okay, so we just ran a few drills that I typically run with pistols where it's no big surprise that the sub gun is gonna beat the pistol. The 1R1, there were some hiccups there, but I think I got it down to a point where it is faster than the pistol, for me right now anyway. But where a sub gun really is gonna outperform a pistol is at distance. So we're about 50 yards, C-zone size steel, and I'm gonna run it with the pistol, see what kind of time I can get, and then with the sub gun and see how much faster and more accurate the sub gun is with longer barrel, 3 points of contact, and yada, 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 all that good stuff. So let's see what the pistol does. So that's a 176. That's pretty good for me, 50 yards. This Cardinal Arms, man. I like this gun a lot. Okay, so we don't have to deal with the draw, which is probably so I'm gonna go as like from low ready as possible to try to keep it even. .112, so saving 60th of a second, right? So definitely faster. .98. So I'm not getting sub 1 second 50-yard draws on my pistol yet, but you can see that sub gun at distance is where these things are really going to outperform the pistol. Okay, just shot the Daniel Defense DD PCC, and I like that gun. It's a nice gun. I particularly like the AR controls. Now, quality of it, I can't determine that over, shooting a few drills. That's going to be a long-term thing. But the B&Ts, they have a proven track record, but they do have some downsides, like to start the sling mounts on this thing. It doesn't come with any QD sling points, sling cups, and I wish it did. There's It's just, this isn't the greatest sling for it, but it'll make do. And then the controls, I'll probably struggle a little bit at first trying to readapt to B&T controls, because I don't have, you know, nearly as much time on a B&T subgun as I do on an AR. So the familiarity there is something I really like. But let's see what the B&T does. I like this brace a lot more than a different pistol brace that's on the Daniel, but let's see what this thing does. Okay, so that's a 245. This thing is definitely easier. The recoil on this is much softer and just easier to control for some reason. I like it. This B&T makes a good gun, I'll put it that way. But we'll do that again. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but this one is running Glock mags. So you can get these lowers that run Glock mags or B&T mags. And I have both, but this one is running Glocks. Woo! Had a little hiccup there, so that was 4.46, but that was me. The gun itself I love, but that was chasing that thing around and not making hits. Let's move over here. So that's a 178 last round too, but that's a tighter grouping for sure. Do that again. So, oh, it didn't record it. Dang it. That was fast. And those headshots are sweet. Let's try that one more time, see if it picks it up. So that was a 149, but way tighter grouping with this thing. I think it's just, I don't know, that little compact weapon, you can just hold it so tight and it just shoots good. That's part of it. So 269, definitely faster. This thing's just so much more controllable, it feels like. So 269, that's getting right. Just, I know I've done that faster with the handgun on my best day. And this is just average Wednesday, so subgun's a better gun, obviously. .210. So once again, no big surprise, but this thing is a very controllable, cool little gun. I like this thing. So let's see if I learned anything from the PCC, the Daniel. And I think if I keep that same method, this will go a lot smoother. 270, so better start for sure, but I can clean that up. Oh! Horrible reload. 388. Because it has this, you can see the mag and then this space right here. So I was trying to feed it into that, which is just reps. Oh, that stupid sling, man. So it's dangling here and I'm going to, so the sling is the downside of this. I don't know how guys set this up ideally, but I don't have it there. I don't have a single point sling, so I detach the front because it is getting in the way. Still. Oh, I'm just gonna take all the way back here. It's not recording it with the cam. Little fumble there. I'm like, I need a, they make something called the jet funnel on like the grasshopper mouse. I don't know if they make it for this one particular, but it's a magwell because I do not like this magwell very much. 242, so that's the fastest of the day. 228. So more reps at that, and this is going to get faster. But getting the sling out of the way, going to a 1-point sling would be ideal. I don't have one with me, but I don't know. B&T's looking good. All right, so we'll do the pistol shot again against the B&T, even though this is really less about, of course, these subguns are going to outperform the pistols, but it's really more of a comparison between the two subs. But this is fun, so let's do it. 167, so improving by the day, but 167, let's do the B&T. Okay, so once again, we're like 50 yards. Pistol, fastest was 167 from the draw, so this should smoke it, but I did have it kind of trying to be as fair as I can. So from totally 141, that was slower. 108. So I don't think I can get this one up and on target as fast as I can that similarity with the AR. Just doesn't have the reps. It's like bringing it into my shoulders. I'm not as quick with that. One more, let's try that. 0.97. So maybe I'm talking out, but I think that was right. Maybe Daniel 9.8 if I remember, 9.7. So definitely faster. But really, like I said, it's more of a comparison between the Daniel and this, and that's fairly even, I would say. But this one took more. I had to get used to it. Okay, so shooting this B&T in the way that it just is so controllable just made me think that a good drill would be to do a build drill, this versus the Daniel. And for those that don't know, it's 6 shots at 7 yards as fast as you can. Just see the difference in grouping between these two. So that's a 142. They're all fist. I mean, you can see the ones that I marked all the previous shots, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this thing is very controllable. Let's see the Daniel. Daniel defense. .141. So line break. Oh no, that is. So that was a little higher, but I had one line break, so that counts, but not quite as tight of a group, but a 100th of a second faster. And I think that's the AR trigger, so a little more used to that, but I don't know. At 7 yards, is a fist better or one over here? And 100th of a second. That's pretty even. Just finished shooting the Daniel Defense PCC and compared that to the B&T APC9K. So what is my overall opinion of the two guns? Well, let's start with the Daniel Defense. I do really like the AR controls, very used to it, and I may be so used to it that going into it, I kind of in my head gave that gun the edge, thinking this thing, I'm going to be so used to AR controls that I'm going to run that gun better. And it actually turns out that the B&T is probably, not even probably, it is a better shooting gun. Now, they're both run suppressed right now. And I mean, I'd say that evens the playing field, but I will say when I took the can off the Daniel Defense, it shoots a lot softer. So it does have a hydraulic buffer. It is a full ambi gun, which is nice. But even with the AR controls, I definitely couldn't get as tight a groups as I could get with the B&T. The B&T, I believe it's just such a compact little gun. I can just hold it really tight, and the way that it operates, it just shoots more precise, I think. And I mean, we did, at the last minute, I was kind of threw in the audible, let's do a bill drill and compare those two. And in times, they were almost dead even, but tighter group goes to the B&T. The 3 and 2 drill, definitely the B&T killed this thing. But I mean, that's me shooting them both, so I guess it's as fair as can be. You know, there's always shooter operator error that goes into it, and maybe if I ran that 3 and 2 drill now, it'd be a little tighter with the Daniel. I'm trying to be as fair as possible here. Another interesting point is that this is a 5.4 inch barrel against an 8.3 inch barrel, so not quite double the length, but you're getting there. And in the drills that I ran today, there was no significant difference between having a very short barrel up against a much longer barrel. And if you're using a sub gun, you're probably using it because you're in tight spaces, and so another edge probably is going to go to the B&T. But that being said, when you really stretch the legs on these things out at distance, that 8.3 might come into play. But for what we did today and what I think you're typically going to be using the sub gun for, no difference noticed. End of the day, if I had to suggest, someone's going out to buy a sub gun and you're going to drop $2,000 for the Daniel Defense, or you're going to drop $2,600, $2,500, something like that for the B&T, I'm going to say the B&T is probably the way to go. It is just a proven track record. It shoots so smooth. It is very pleasant to shoot. And the only things I really don't like about it, starting with the sling, I need a 1-point sling for this, and I just don't have one. So as you saw in the 1R1s, I'm trying to do that. I had to take the sling all the way off. It was just so in the way, but it's not set up to be a 2-point sling. And then I do not like the safety throws on this gun. So I'm gonna give like the feel of the controls to the Daniel Defense, but overall the B&T, I mean, it's not a huge surprise. I would drop the extra $500 and get the B&T. But that's not to say that the Daniel's not a cool gun. I like it. I think it's a good looking gun. It's just kind of a miniature AR, which everybody is familiar with. It shoots well, I don't think it can quite stack up against the B&T. And then there's the question of longevity. Now these things will just run, and I can't say that about this. I need to put a lot more rounds through it before I can sign off on this being a long-term reliable gun that's going to stand the test of time. But it was a lot of fun, and as far as sub guns stacking up against pistols, it's pretty evident that they're faster, more accurate, and it's weird that they don't get more use, really. Everything you see is pistols and rifles, and then small little sub gun window, but they're more specialized, I get it. But they're a lot of fun. I'm definitely gonna do more sub gun content. I'm thinking a whole B&T day where I bring out all the B&T sub guns and see which one comes out on top. So stay tuned for that. Please comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I'm Jeff for the Weapon Collective, reminding you, keep your weapons collected and keep collecting your weapons. I'll catch you next time. Contact and stability makes it your sub gun. So we're going to be dealing with focusing on one gun for the most part today into sub guns, and this is the PCC. We got bullets flying overhead. Hopefully the mic is picking that up. But this is the Daniel Defense P, and I like that because I'm so used to AR controls. But this has a proven track record. Oh, I'm hoping that Mike's picking those rounds up. But we're gonna compare it to this guy and really see if you're better off. One just impacted over here. So we're gonna see if